Alright, we're leaving translation behind for a moment, and we're going to get back into solving equations. Now, this is what I was referring to before. We're going to... Oh, okay. Well, I was hoping we were going to get into x on both sides. Not quite yet. So we have this puzzle here where we have both x is being multiplied and something's being added. And the question is, so we would first clean up the rooms, but nothing here cleans up. We're going to see later, I guess, that we'll have idle no's in both rooms. But now we want to get x by himself. Now, what's the order? We need to get rid of an 8, and we need to divide away a 7, but who leaves first? And if you do the order the wrong way, you're not going to get the right answer. And this is what I've tried to refer to a little bit here. What we want a puzzle where we're working with factors. The most basic algebraic problem is two numbers multiply together. Two numbers are factors of 14. Well, obviously it's 7, but we want to work with factors. And addition and subtraction get in the way. So if I had 2x minus 7 equals 28, for instance, this is not a factor puzzle yet. This minus 7 is preventing me from finding the factors. So we need to get rid of this in order to get it down to that basic little puzzle where we're saying what two factors multiply together. So he leaves first so that I can get it down to factors. Okay, now we're going to do the same here. I want 7 times x. That's what I want. I want these basic factors. So I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides so I can get it down to this little puzzle where two numbers multiply to make negative 21. So remember, you owe me 13, you owe me 8 more. Okay, now this is the kind of puzzle I want. Factors. Two numbers multiply to make negative 21, and you probably already know in your head, but we can just divide away one side, do it to the other. Now I've got x's by himself. Okay, so I want 3x to be alone. I want it to be 3 times x equals whatever. I want this to be factors, and it's not. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. And I get this. Now I have factors. Two numbers multiply to get negative 12. You could probably guess, but if you're not sure, you just divide away the 3. And x must be negative 4. Okay, let's get it down to the factors. So he's leaving first. Subtract 3 from both sides. Okay, I have it as factors. 5 times a equals negative 40. Well, let's divide it away if you don't see it. A is negative 8. Okay, more of the same. The room's already clean, so this is just about let's get it down to the factors. I'm going to add 9. If you do it to one side, you got to do it to the other. Okay, it's factors now, which is real simple. 8 times y equals 40, you probably already know, but you could just divide it by 8 on both sides. And there you go. Okay, more of the same here. We're trying to get it down to the factors. We want that simple puzzle where two numbers multiply to create a number. Whoops, I don't want that. I want to just do plus 9. Okay, it's factors now. 5 times y equals 25. You already know it, but we'll just show you. You could divide it away, and you get 5. Add 8 to both sides. Okay, so I'm getting this alone. I want the factors. Now I can divide both sides by 3. Okay, now this is where I thought we were going to start, but I've overlooked the last one. Remember what we need to do. We clean the rooms. Now, we're going to have the idle no in 2 rooms. We've got to get him back together, and lastly, we'll get him alone. So the rooms are clean. There's nothing to tidy up in either room, but I have idle no's in both rooms. So what I'm going to do here is you can go, well, I don't want to leave this room empty, so I'm going to move this over to the other side. Well, how do I move them over? I'm not multiplying or dividing. If I want to take something off this side of the, remember we've got this balance beam here, that's all balanced. If I want to take something off of this side, I have to take it off the other side. So I want to take 8x out of this room. I've got to take it out of the other room. And I'd be left with 1x, or just x, equals -6. Now, by putting them back together, getting them in the same room, that was it. There was nothing else to solve. I've got x by itself. Now, same here. I've got a balance beam. I'm going to take 5n off of the balance beam in this room, but if I take him off on that side, I got to take him off over here, and I'll have n is -10. Okay, the same. You can swing either way. I could move this over to the other side, but I don't want to leave this room empty. So if I've got -7c over here, I'm going to add 7c to the balance beam on the right, and then I'll add it to the balance beam on the other side, and I've got c is -1. Okay, so I'm looking at an equation. I have both rooms clean, but I have him, the y that I'm trying to get alone, he's in both places. Now I'm going to move him over here because I don't want to make the room alone. So I'm going to take 5y's off of this side, and I've got to take 5y's off the other. So I've got -9 equals 3y. Okay, now what we'd been seeing before is we'd been putting them together and that was it. We were done. Well, we've got him back together now, but we don't have him all alone. So we're ready for the final step. I've got two factors, 3 times y equal -9. That's the kind of puzzle that I want. I could divide both sides by 3. And I get -3 equals y. Y is -3, same thing. Okay, I need to get, so the rooms are clean. I got to get him back together. So I'm going to take 3p off this side, which means I got to take it off the other. Now, I've tidied that up. I had 5 p's, I took away 3 of them, I have 2 left. But I have the factor puzzle that I want. 2 times p equals -14, but I've got to divide both sides by 2. P is -7. Okay, more of the same. I don't want to leave a room totally alone, so I'm going to take 8m off the scale over here. I got to take it over there. Oops, it would be -3m. So I have $5, but you owe me 8. You're in the hole now. Okay, it's what I want. I've got a factor problem where two numbers are being multiplied. So to get rid of them, I'm going to divide both sides by -3. So 9 divided by -3 would be -3. Okay, this one they're just trying to trick you with the fact this is -x, but it's really like -1x. I got to get these guys in the same room. There's no other cleanup to do. Let's get them back together. So I'm going to add an x to this side. But if I add an x to this side, I got to do it to the other. This is now 13 x's equals 26. I've got my little factor puzzle that I want. So I'm going to divide both sides by 13. And I get x is 2. Okay, more of the same here. The rooms are clean, so I got to get him back together. Going to add 4j to one side, I'll do it to the other. Okay, get j by himself by dividing away 16. Okay, more of the same. Rooms are already clean, I got to get them back together. I get 12h equals 12. So I had a -4h, I needed to add 4h to balance this out. And then you've got the factor puzzle, you already know the answer, but h is 1. Okay, so things are getting a little more complicated. I'm assuming in our next ones we're going to get real complicated. But don't forget, it's always the same 3 steps. Get the rooms cleaned up. After you've got the rooms cleaned up, if I don't know is in both rooms, you got to get them back together and finally get them alone.